a human lies an average, an average of 11 times a day.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So not only do we loop negative inner dialogue and it's repeating like a chihuahua. Doorbell rings, runs to the door and barks, right? Like no thought, just does what it does every day. We are doing what we're doing every day. What's already so what I do is I get what's in your head out of your head so we can start to confront it for real and start to go, you have a choice. Because the minute I go, who said that? I just woke your higher self up.
You are listening to The Foundation of Wellness, a refreshing take on diet and lifestyle. Join me, Marisa Moon, as we tackle modern health with innovative and ancient principles. I'm a certified primal health coach and intermittent fasting instructor at marisamoon.com. Welcome, friends. It's me, Marisa Moon. How are you doing today? It's a beautiful summer in Chicago. Wow, is it beautiful. In Indiana, which is really where I'm at. But things are ever so weird and stressful because of the you-know-what. If you're listening to this in 2020 or around the time of this recording, then you know what I'm talking about, and I don't need to say it. Well, one of the ways that I've kept myself from losing my mind is by working with a life coach. A life coach who is absolutely zero BS and tells it to you straight. No fluff, no hand-holding. And I'm the kind of person who needs hand-holding. But I took this personal challenge because I knew I needed to do something differently. I'd be stuck where I'm at if I didn't, which was overwhelmed and underwhelmed at the same time, stressed and detached, feeling insecure, feeling misunderstood and lonely. My guest today is my life coach. She wasn't my life coach yet when we recorded this interview, though. In fact, I had never met her, never spoke to her before this. I just read her book called Maybe It's Me. Cut the crap, face the fears, and love your life. Her book scared me, and she scared me. Her name is Lauren Zander, also known as Lauren Handel. I literally told her assistant that I was scared to work with Lauren as my coach, but that I knew in my gut that was the very reason that I needed to say yes. If we don't challenge ourselves enough to be uncomfortable, we won't grow and adapt. I truly want to grow and continue to adapt as much as I can throughout my life. So this seems like the perfect time to reach for it. Lauren specializes in waking people up to dream big and just start living to their true potential and start living true to themselves. She coaches Dr. Mark Hyman, which is one of the big wows for me. They're best friends and they're changing the world together. And she coaches celebrity Hugh Jackman. That's right, the Wolverine. And I heard him say on the Tim Ferriss podcast that Lauren is to thank for his success with The Greatest Showman. So to tell you a little bit about her wildly successful career, Lauren Handel Zander co-founded the Handel Group, a multi-million executive life coaching business with 60 employees, and her Handel method is taught at MIT, Stanford Graduate School of Business, NYU. She personally works to transform the lives of CEOs, celebrities, and clients like little old me all across the country. Her method has helped thousands of clients get healthy, fix their relationships, be true to themselves, fix their families, create their dream careers, and so much more. She's even been featured on Dr. Oz, the New York Times, Forbes, Self, Women's Health, Vogue, Marie Claire, and Elle. What has it been like working with Lauren? You might be wondering from me. Well, it's a lot of work, inner work, digging deep and running headfirst into self-confrontation. Something I avoid every now and then. Well, we've had 3 sessions now, and I'm also doing her online course called Inner You, where anyone can learn the Handel method and just leverage their awesome coaches and communities to change your life. I recently discovered something very telling about myself. Something I never really knew was as bad as it is. Lauren helped me realize that I am a liar. Not the kind of liar you think of at first, but the kind that pretends like everything is okay, or who acts as though they don't have an opinion. Ever since I was a preteen, I'd act in ways that would make others like me more. I'd change my personality, my thoughts, my interests, just to fit in and please others. Sure, we all do that, but I actually became that. Like, I've told people over and over again that I'm a chameleon. I never really allowed myself to flourish because I didn't even know who my true self was or is. And this is kind of frightening when you realize that you do it to everyone that you love. You under-exaggerate things to protect them, or you omit things to pretend like you don't mind, you're easygoing, or you don't have an opinion. Lauren says that when I lived like that, it's no wonder that I struggled with depression. I indirectly told myself that I'm not good enough. My opinion's not good enough. I have too much to hide. I can never be my own person. People won't like me if they know it all, or I won't like me if I admit it all. Wowza. Who would have thought? Okay, enough about me. I want you to know that you can also do Lauren's Inner You program online for this crazy discount right now. If you're ready to do the inner work and the literal hours and hours of homework that it takes to dedicate yourself to this journey, you can do the life coaching program or the love program if you're needing some help in the love and relationships arena for over 50% off. They have a 50% off deal going on for the pandemic right now. So depending when you hear this episode, you get that discount plus my $75 off additional discount. So just go to the link in the show notes or go to inneryou.coach. That's inner, I-N-N-E-R, with the letter U, inneryou.coach. And then use the discount code at checkout, Foundation of Wellness 75, all caps. That gets you the extra $75 off. And so this is going to run you around $275 with the pandemic discount and my coupon for something that's usually $600. Wow, right? And if you're not sure which program to choose, just know that the life program, like the OG Inner You program, includes all areas of your life: self, career, love, your body, money, your relationship with time management, community, spirituality, all kinds of stuff. And if you do sign up, please let me know, because I need a buddy who understands what I'm going through. I want more people to talk to about this besides just an audience on a podcast without any faces back there. I mean, I'm guilty because they have a community for Inner You, and I haven't taken the time to engage there yet or to find an accountability buddy yet, which is one of the homework assignments. But just DM me, send me a direct message on Instagram or Facebook if you have any questions about this, you want to know more about my experience, or if you want to celebrate together because you signed up and we can be accountability buddies. So here we go with the interview with Lauren Zander. Oh, and you should know, Lauren is quite the character with many voices and her own lingo that she uses to describe the ways that we get stuck or really judgy with ourselves or others. And once you read the book, Maybe It's You, or you take her course, you'll get a better understanding of a few of the things that she breezes through really quickly in this episode. And but take a listen, get to know this unique soul. I mean, she's changing lives by what I would guess is the millions at this point. So she's got to know what she's doing, right? Yeah. Here you go. Well, hey, Lauren. Gosh, I feel so lucky to have you on the show.
Thanks for feeling that way.
Well, you made me feel that way, number one, because your book knocked my socks off when it opened with a foreword from Dr. Mark Hyman, who you coached.
Yeah, I still coach.
Oh, that is the coolest.
I still coach him. I coach him regularly. We're working on something right now. We are always working on stuff. So yes, I can understand you have very good taste. He's actually my best friend. We've been best friends for a while now.
Love that. Even through
Yes.
all of this, because I know you've helped him through some incredible life changes and he still likes you that much.
We're doing time together. We're doing change the world, love each other, best friends, and die
Oh,
together, right? We're
well,
we're we're going to the end of time, he and I.
yes. And I see you're both doing crazy big things, bigger things than most people can even just kind of let their brain even fantasize about. And
Right.
you kind of specialize in that. You're like somebody who makes people think big and actually do something about it.
Yeah. My line is, if I have to do it, you have to do it. Right? If I have to do it, you have to do it. Why am I the only one? Oh, right. I'm not. I'm helping people see why they want that too. Right.
I mean, they must come to you in the beginning in a similar place. Like, do people come to you when they feel like they've tried everything, or do they come to you out of desperation because they're like at a low point in their life, or just because they want more?
A lot of times I'm still extremely word of mouth, right? Like someone really saw someone lost 100 pounds that hadn't, is 50,
Oh,
right? And for the first time in their life, they look different and happy. And then you go, what did you do? And they go, Lauren Zander, right? And so that's still what got me Hugh Jackman, right? From Mark Hyman, right? Like Mark looked happy and Mark was talking while he was examining, and they were like, what did you do? You sound so different. And then before you know it, I'm being asked if I could be introed,
oh
right?
God.
So,
Yeah.
and that was 5 years ago. And then I've been working, so what happens is if I do a good job, people love me and pass me along because they can't help but go, holy cow, that works.
Yeah. I mean, it's true though. Like if somebody else goes through some major life change for the better, it can't like not wake you up to your own possibility, to your own potential. I mean, we're
Yeah.
sleeping half the time when it
Yeah.
comes to the way that we craft our lives, and it's because life is like totally overwhelming. I am the first to admit that.
Mm.
I'm a pretty determined person, but at the same time, I like to take a back seat a lot. Like, ah, that's too much for me. It's like I'm overwhelmed very easily. Just keeping it real. Because even
you know,
though I
you
can
know
help other
you're
people with that,
teeing me up, right?
well, this is your thing. You like to help people cut the crap. I mean, the name of your book is Maybe It's You. And I was like, oh my God, I could never do these exercises without a coach. Like,
Right.
that book is hard.
Yes. It's I wrote the book after I'd been doing it for 20 years. It's not like I wrote the book to see if
No.
I could do it. It was like, this is what works. I better get the book out before one more person asks me, where's my book? Right.
Ah.
I was like, all right, I'm ready. I'll do a book. Right. But
I
that's
know it's a
not
lot of work. It's a
it's and
lot of work,
it
but
wasn't even that it was a lot of work. It was not the way I learn. Like I do not read a book and change. There are very few books that have rocked my world in life. I give them credit, but I'm not a reader. I'm not a
mm.
reader. I'm that whatever that is. You're like, Lauren, have you been influenced by who? What readings have you read? And I'm like, no one. Nothing. I can't even tell you someone's name. I didn't read the book. I really enjoy that I am the only one inventing my own stuff. And how do I invent my stuff? It's by figuring out how to literally change you. And
Mm.
so 20 some odd years later of working one on one, then let me go one on 10 and then start to teach in classrooms and start to test the method in very, you know, serious settings where people will do the homework. And
Yeah.
so I could really craft something that if you're really interested in change, if you follow these instructions, you will deal. And they really work only if you use them. And then they're yours for life, like a wrench, right? So the way I invent tools are so that you can have it for the rest of your life once you understand it. And I think that's not done in our field of emotional well-being. There isn't like lots of ways to talk about it, lots of tools to use for it that everybody knows because it's taught everywhere. No, it's not. Right? No. Which is why it's not available easily like algebra is. So emotional intelligence hasn't even begun to fight the war it needs to fight.
No. And I think what you're saying is we become very dependent on someone else helping us cope or getting us through the emotional roller coaster, whereas you're trying to equip us with the tools to manage it on our own without help.
So when we say tree, the amount that tree means and we understand is profound. Like it like covers oxygen and carbon and water and sun and soil and growth. And but all we did was say tree. But we all understand how much we understand when we say the word tree, right? If you say the word codependent, do you know how many people don't know they're codependent? Like they don't know the word tree. And then how many books do you want them to have to read to get their codependent? Like how scientifically capable do you need to be to understand what a tree is, right? And really get it without having to be able to grow one, build, right? Like, so I just believe that language and concepts have not been developed so that we can break into our own inner dialogue and really understand why you're eating that cookie, not the apple, and then why you eat it every night and feel terrible about yourself, right? Like, I know why that keeps happening. And if you understand it, like you understand how to use a GPS, you will never be taking out your maps again or deciding you can't go to California because you don't know how to get there because you don't have a GPS or an ability to use a map.
Okay.
So it's more like there's these, once upon a time, this really great client said, Lauren, I know what you do. What? You teach uncommon knowledge. But the minute someone gets it, it becomes common knowledge. And I'm like, that's right. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what I want to do in this world, which is make something, common to all of us so we all can use it. Like we can all understand a tree. We can all understand being a little on the addict behavior style. Like we can all understand what our lower self is up to. We can all understand why we need to listen to our higher self. We can all understand why we're waiting for ourselves not to be addicted to sugar, but like, do you want to know why you are? Right? Like in a way that isn't read 3 books from Mark Hyman, but really just don't pick up the cookie. So I am a hacker for developing language so that people can break into what I call your mainframe, which is your own inner dialogue, so that you can dream and become and believe in yourself and feel good about being alive versus feel like you're hiding what you don't want anybody to know about you, including you.
Yeah. I mean, you said a lot there that's so important to everyone listening. I think that we've all been through these times when we can't control like our eating habits that are against everything else that we are striving for.
Yeah.
And we keep doing it, like
Yeah.
that evening, reaching for the cookie example you gave. So are you ready to teach us something about that? Because we all need to learn.
Yes. So, first of all, everyone makes this tragic mistake. We don't think we're fundamentally dark. Like, we do not, like, dark meaning, would you like to get out of bed or would you like to stay in bed? Like, the amount of people who go stay in bed is dark of all of us. Like, oh, right? Would you rather your competitor fail or teach you something to make you have to push even harder? Fail. Right? Would you like, right? Like, do you really want to have sex tonight, or would you like your husband to tell you he's sorry, let's try tomorrow? And you're like, okay. Right. Like, do you really want to cook dinner tonight, or would you rather go out for dinner? Right?
Right.
Like, so we understand our first answer is not enlightened yet?
Hmm.
Do you want to study, or would you rather have the cliff notes? Now, there really are people that would rather go for the 10-mile run. I have never woken up wanting to exercise. I'm sorry, humans. You may be with me, you may not be with me. But if you go, Lauren, do you know I have to keep all my promises? Like, I am a promise keeper, not because I want to do them, but because if they're in my schedule, I keep my promises. The Peloton had to be in my schedule this morning, and it literally needs to tell me what time I need to be there because I'm not allowed to break promises. My assistant, you're like, Lauren, did you put the Peloton in? I'm like, Lauren would never put it in, but will put it in every time because she knows she has to make me keep my agreements.
Huh.
Do you know I literally need a promise to have sex twice a week? Do you know I am in love with my husband? I love him. Am I ever unhappy after we have sex? No. Am I
No.
ever unhappy during sex? No. Am I always annoyed that I have to instigate it every fucking time? Oop, sorry,
It's okay.
but at least it was the right context.
Yeah, that's true. Go for it.
Sorry, everyone.
It's okay.
Okay. But I need to have a promise because I know I wake up lazy and a bit dark. And I don't let myself run through my inner dialogue. That's my lower self. Like, I know
Mm.
my lower self, and she kind of gets to hang out on Saturdays after she works out and do whatever she wants,
Yeah.
right? And you all will be like, what does she like to do, Lauren? And those are, if I weigh, do you know that if I weigh myself, I'm in my range on Fridays, right? Then I
Okay.
get the weekend off to eat what I want. And all I have to do is weigh myself on Fridays because I eat clean as a whistle to have my weekends off and I'm in range. And so that's how I teach fun.
Cool.
But if I'm not in range, I'm on a clean weekend,
Mm. Mhm.
right? So I organize myself to be impeccable so that I get my perks and my lower self gets to have some fun. And I know myself to deserve all the rules I need to make sure I'm achieving my dreams, not because I'm waiting till I want to. I have not wanted to.
So, like dozens of times a day, you are having to override your brain's lazy desires, and every single day, basically, you have to
It
choose the
gets a
higher
lot
self.
easier. It gets a lot easier. It gets a lot easier. It really does because you start getting all these, you know, rewards at 50.
Yeah.
That's a 50-year-old arm, people. You see how it don't jiggle? Right? Like, do you understand? That's like a miracle to my family line because if you went and saw my grandmothers, you know, wee, right? Like, so I wanted to be great so that my children would want to be great. Like, I wanted to teach what I wanted to practice. And a lot of what I want to be and practice does not come from relaxation and ease.
Yeah, that's true. It's just you make it sound so easy, and you're just saying it comes with time. So,
It comes with learning to keep. So, one of the things I love to teach is personal integrity.
mhm.
Humans are really great at keeping promises to other people because they have to. They're obligated, whether it's your job, your kid, your husband, the money, the shopping. Like, You don't get to ask yourself, do you want to go grocery shopping and put on a mask? No, you don't ask yourself that. You're like, gloves, mask, let's go. Right. And right, there's no option anymore. Right. So many things in life are obligations. And then the only thing I could teach you is how to have fun in things you have to do. But past the list of obligations really is, what do you want to fulfill on in your life?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're fulfilled. And that's where I make a person write a dream for themselves. That's where I make you separate life out into 12 different areas, so you don't make your whole life your children and your career. And then poor body got screwed along the way, and poor spirituality got screwed along the way, and fun and adventure got screwed along the way, and learning got screwed along the way. Like, the amount we sell out on so that we just keep 3 areas of our life good enough is what I am the antichrist of.
Yeah, that's a very real problem that most of us have. We'll be like crushing it in one area and feeling so good until you realize that something else you care about has all but vanished from your existence. And it's because you didn't nurture it, or you didn't pursue it and care about it enough. And our bodies are a great example of that. I mean, most women that come to me are in their 50s or older, and it's come to finally where they just are ready to make themselves the priority, or they've dealt with the crap long enough that they can't put up with themselves anymore in that way.
It's a very funny line for what you. So, first of all, I think every human could do much better with their own real nutrition plan that understands them and gives them a day off and gives them that, like creates a plan that's inspiring to be you, right? And knows you, and then really even teaches you that if you eat this much spinach, it'll do this for your eyes. You're that, like, we don't even know how cool nutrition is, right? And what a mushroom does, and why,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we don't even get the spices and the right, like, and the culture and
No.
how accessible it is, right? And then my daughter ordered Vegemite, right? Like all different, like we're there's so much fun to be had in being healthy, and no one leans in deeply enough on how special it is to be
Mm-mm.
alive.
I know.
And then I think food, and if you ask me, like, Lauren, when you're teaching integrity to anyone, CEOs, anyone, anywhere, right? I don't teach them food for nutrition. I don't. I don't teach them any of that. I teach them food for integrity purposes. Like, in order for me to help you go get any dream you want, I need you to be able to follow your own instructions, because when they're scary or complicated or require you raising money or this or that, like when they're really scary and you have to be able to deal with the future, like people and being in fear, you better trust yourself to pick up the phone. And so you go, well, what does that have to do with food? And I'm like, are you kidding? I think commanding the inner dialogue to eat what's on the list, not starve, because, right, nothing kind of Mark Hyman believes in starving, right? It's like, no, eat these 5 things as much as you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? But everything else, no, no, right? So I create a diet to teach people how to learn to keep their promises to themselves with me. Does that make sense? So you may need to lose 4 pounds, and I still am just as severe with you as if you need to lose 100 pounds, because our higher self, right, could eat vegetables after 7. As many raw, I give, the rule is, you want to crunch, you want to eat, you can have as much raw vegetables. I don't care what they are. No beets, no potatoes of any kind. But you can have everything else as much as you want. Knock yourself out, right? And to get a person to get that it's the crunching and the eating and not that they're hungry, and then to start making it fun to figure out what they like to eat at 8 o'clock at night, right? That's a green pepper with hot sauce, right? It's so like they don't even know they could have fun trying a whole new world of being. And that's the other thing that I present to people, which is like a green eggs and ham. If you haven't tried it, how would you know?
I mean, it sounds totally doable if you live by yourself or with a supportive partner or family who lets you dump all the crap that's in your house and they're not eating pizza that they just got delivered right next to you or having, ice cream afterwards, trying to taunt you with it. And this is an ongoing challenge that I see in my clients' lives. And I will tell them, tell your family that you feel better when you eat this way. You need 3 weeks without the junk in the house. Dump it. You're in charge. A lot of
I
people
have
aren't
a
willing to
better
do that.
answer. I have
Do
a better
it.
answer.
Tell us.
Okay. Here's how and I have 3 kids, right? And they all know my diet and they all eat pizza. They do not need to be on a diet. I am not, we buy healthy food, but are there chocolate covered frozen bananas in the freezer? Is there ice cream in the freezer? If I wanted to blow my diet in 30 seconds, I can completely in my own house. And I can smell it cooking. Okay, all day long. So I don't break my diet because I put in consequences. Okay, so here's a good example of a true one for me is when I wanted to meditate twice a day. That was a new promise that I didn't want to keep. So here's how I kept it. I don't get coffee till I meditate. Oh, yes. I will be running downstairs, putting on the pot of coffee, running back upstairs and meditating, going downstairs and getting my first cup of coffee. And then I don't get any screen time at night until I've done my second meditation. Ha ha ha. Sit down, do your meditation, turn on your favorite TV show, Lauren. It's 7 o'clock at night. You're good. Right? So if you want to be gluten-free, don't eat after 8. Don't drink but one drink. You put in a consequence. A consequence is not a punishment. It's a bad joke. It's offensive, right? Like I don't get, am I going to lie to my whole community that I'm going to drink a cup of coffee and not have meditated? No. Right. So and I do this with my children. If I cheat on my diet, if I don't work out and do the Peloton 30 minutes, right? I work out 5 times a week, sometimes 6. If I don't keep that promise, I owe a kid $20. So if you cheat on your diet, you owe that kid $10 or $5 or $1. They will be playing you, but it will be a very different game because it will be your game. And if you want, and then just so you know, if you eat the pizza and you pay the $5, you don't need to feel guilty. You made a choice. But you organized it like a choice versus it was in the house. I was starving. I can't keep a diet. I'm such a loser. Right? Like versus self-loathing, you actually develop a promise and a consequence so that you're keeping your promise to yourself. But you also have someone holding your promise. If I need this still, folks, you need it.
Yeah.
Now,
it's got to be tricky to figure out the right one, though, because
no, it's not just touch people's screens, their cocktails. It's like if I want to get a person to keep their promises for their to-do list, which is also a lot of work, right? People just don't. People are pigs with food. People are pigs with time.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I want to get a person to keep their promises in time, like what they scheduled to do, that they really do it. If you don't get your schedule, if you don't do 8 out of the 10 things on your schedule, you don't get any screen time till they're all done, regardless of how long it took.
But what about the little voice in your head that's like, I don't care, I'm doing it anyway? Like, there's a lot of us that have that override that's
then
just
it's
like,
not
I don't care.
a then you're never going to fulfill on that dream. There really are. So I don't start with the right thing to do. I don't care about the right thing to do. I care about your dreams. If you don't care about the size of your tussie in a pair of jeans and feeling sexy, I am not going to make you. I
No.
don't care about it either. I would much rather teach you self-love and jiggle that tussie than tell you you need to lose weight so it's cute. But damn like, I'm sorry, I need to be a size 5, 6, 4, 5, 6 in order for me to like myself. It isn't my husband's number for me, it's mine.
Right.
So I really have a dream of how I want to look till I die. Everyone, I think that maybe after 80, I'm allowed to turn into a cookie monster. I can't tell yet, but maybe after 80. But until then, this is it. But that's my vision. And then the voice in my head that's really a pig, a brat, doesn't care, I'll do it tomorrow, which is predictable in any area that's challenging.
Yeah.
I kick its butt because I have a dream and therefore I put in a promise and a consequence. So I'm only helping people get their dreams. If you don't have that dream, I'm not going to make you.
Well, I guess when I said I don't care, I didn't mean, like, for instance, exercise for me. I've told my listeners many times I go in and out of these like times where exercise is part of my life every day. And then when it's not, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, but it's not that my overarching life dream and priority is not involving exercise as a part of my daily life. It's just like in that moment of my life, I'm just like overwhelmingly consumed by other things that exercise just doesn't seem important. And I think that when we stress eat, that's exactly what we're going through in
Okay,
that
do you
moment.
hear how your lower self just sold you that belief? Like you can't, like you'll be back. It's not that big a deal. Sometimes things come up.
Yeah.
It makes you be like lose your gumption and effort for a period of time, and then you could get back on the horse, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's good,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, when it comes to rocking your body, you're okay with an average of an 8.2 down to a 7.2, or all the way to a 6.8 when you kick back up to an 8. Like you have a range of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want me to tell you why that's a terrible plan?
Yeah, I want to learn from me for sure.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think if you really get into working out, it's spiritual. You?
Mm.
Thank you. Do you hear how I found the cavity already? Like I found it already, right? Because exercise is a means to an end, not in and of itself sacred.
Mm-hmm.
Like a way to connect to yourself. First of all, I have my greatest marketing ideas when I'm working out. I have my greatest connections to being alive and feeling physical and wanting to live for the like so evolving how you experience movement and being alive would be the only real reason, right? So if you're skinny and you look great and you're not worried about your body, then why would you exercise if you look great? Right? Oh, you're going to get
Mm-hmm.
soft at some point and then you want to kick up so you don't get mushy, right? But I am not exercising so I don't get soft at some point. I just don't get soft at some point because I'm exercising.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a benefit. But if you go, why do you exercise? It's because it's my personal time to be spiritual and connect to myself and feel alive, my body, my soul, my ambition. Like, do you know I make people make impact like playlists of like whatever you're looking to have right now in your life that you wish would happen for you. I make you make a playlist that's your workout time, and I make you use your same playlist till you've broken through in that area of your life.
I don't get it.
Like, okay, so back when I wanted to sell a TV show, I was nowhere near selling a TV show. I've sold four. I got what I wanted, but it wasn't what I needed, right? It was hysterical. But that was many years ago. But when I was dying to sell my shows, right, and thought that was a real solution, I had a playlist and I would go for a run. And my run was always the same amount of time. And I would push myself to this playlist. And I didn't get to create a new playlist till I had the breakthroughs in my life. And you go, well, how did you work on your business plan? And I'm like, songs and a run. You're like, how'd you build your business?
That was the consequence. It was you can't change the music until
No. Yeah, no, yeah. But that wasn't the consequence. I owe money to my kid if I don't keep my exercise promise. No, really.
Yeah.
Right. So that it's me being true to myself, but also that why I exercise is not to stay skinny or toned or burn calories so I can eat more, because that's not inspiring to me. What's inspiring to me is feeling alive, feeling holy, spiritually connected, and deeply thinking about stuff that, like, you go, how many runs did you go on where you cried on your run? How many runs did you go on where you fantasized you had conversations with Steve Jobs? Like, I had my imagination flying and dreaming and playing and downloading, and right. So if I were you, I would get your physical practice to be more spiritual and connect to dreams, because it's not sexy enough for you to just stay in shape. You look great, right? Like, who needs to just stay in shape? That would take 6 weeks off for sure in between.
I mean, I could totally connect with you on this because when I became a primal health coach, I'm certified in that, I was the most moved I've ever been to make movement a part of my daily life. And it's because of just that's what our inner human needs. Like on a genetic level, it's what we're meant to do. And a lot of times that's what gets me back doing. It's not because I want my body to look a certain way. It's because I know that that's like how I am destined to live my life. It's a part of who we are as a human. But at the same time, I would like to play around with a few examples you gave of your own, because even though you are very spiritually driven to work out, you still need Kiki to put your Peloton, class on the schedule. You got to have a consequence to pay your kids if you don't. So it sounds like, yeah, I'm not doing it I'm not doing it because I talk myself out of it, but you're saying that might happen to you too without those other things set up for
Oh
you.
yeah, no, I come from a mommy who would prefer to starve all day, have a cup of coffee, a Hershey chocolate bar, and one piece of chicken, and be a very skinny mommy. Like, that was my mother. She did not exercise. She did not eat right. She looked great and ate very little and was a size 2. See her chunky mommy to figure out why she became a skinny mommy, right? But never really cared about her health and well being till she got much older. And that was dumb, right? So she figured it out later in life and is now like a goody two shoes about it. But it didn't used to be about morale, like a trueness to the self, right? So when I started this conversation, I said, humans think they wake up good. And I'm like, I think we wake up bad, right? Like, I think it's yin yang, and it starts dark, and then the light is the higher self dealing with the dark side. So I am not afraid of the dark. I respect how dark my dark is, right? It would rather watch TV than
Mm-hmm.
have hot sex with my very cute husband who I love. And you're like, you'd rather watch Netflix than have sex. And I'm like, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, that's me every day. You're like, really? And I'm like, I'd practically bring him another girl if I could, like, ha, 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 if it wouldn't ruin my marriage, right? Like, dark is funny
Yeah.
and lazy and indifferent, but would be jealous and frightening and devastated too, right? Like, so I think people don't understand that your excuses, your tolerance, your, everyone goes back to their dark side or has never conquered their dark side. And I don't think I just insulted anybody. I think that that's my secret sauce of understanding myself so that I live a life that you is shocking to me too. I
Mm-hmm.
did it myself, but there was nothing about me that was destined to keep promises. Truly, I had to mess with my Netflix in order to have that sex that keeps my marriage hot. Is it worth a promise and a consequence to understand that humans are kind of schnooky about instant gratification and I'll do it tomorrow? That's dark. That's all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anybody want to come to work for the light side? It means we're kicking our lower selves butt, which means your laziness, your it's not my problem, work came up, it's my husband and I haven't forgiven each other yet from 9 years ago. Like, how long are you going to keep all that true so you can eat, drink, and stay in bed and suffer?
Yeah.
So I think the human condition pretends it's not as dark as it is
So
and
it
then gets
almost
up.
just
Yeah.
it depends on acceptance first and then crafting this like mega dream vision or
Well, first, what I first I really need to know your dream. If you don't want to get laid, you don't want to have love in your life, you're not into it, I'm not going to make you,
mm-hmm.
right? But if you're sad and it's disappointing and you still cry at the Titanic because you've never loved anybody like that, right? No, I've never loved you like that, right? You're never too late in my book,
mm-hmm.
right? And so there really is just a dream first. Like, what would fulfill your life? In Okay, great. So if that would fulfill your life, like that's your dream. So imagine you have a dream. And then I ask you to rate your current life against that dream. If the dream is a 10, 9, 10, your current life is a 3. You don't go out. You don't even have girlfriends, let
Mm-hmm.
alone you haven't kissed a man in 9 years. Okay. So then, if this is really your dream, what's between you and believing you deserve love, can get laid, like any of that? And then you write your theories and all your drama from your head as to why you're a 3. But that's what the inner dialogue is doing. It's okay. And according to science, over 80% of our thoughts are negative and repeating from the day before as if they're original thoughts.
I know. I just learned that last week with our last guest. It was the first time I ever heard that. And I was like, what? And I made him repeat himself because I just cannot believe it. I can't believe we have so many negative thoughts that repeat themselves 2 days in a row and more than that. It's like
Do you know we
unbelievable.
also we also a human lies an average of 11 times a day.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, yeah. So not only do we loop negative inner dialogue and it's repeating like a chihuahua. Doorbell rings, runs to the door and barks, right? Like no thought, just does what it does every day. We are doing what we're doing every day. What's already So what I do is I get what's in your head out of your head so we can start to confront it for real and start to go, you have a choice. Because the minute I go, who said that? I just woke your higher self up.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like the minute you're reading something and you don't go, that's me writing my truth, there's a higher self that goes, what did you say? Do I
Mm-hmm.
really believe that? Right. So I have to give language, something that is uncommon, which is breaking into your inner dialogue, something so it can break in and be horrified that it's stuck dark. We do
Yeah.
not want to be dark. right? We want to have the body. We want to have the money. We want to have the love and intimacy. We want to make other people happy. We are not dying to be jerks, but that doesn't mean you're not one.
No. I think you're really painting a picture here though that we have to like almost name this other side of ourselves so that we know it's like two of us living inside us. Because every day
I make you name it. I make you come up with nicknames for all the voices in your head. You don't have 700, don't worry. You have about 4. Right? And don't worry, right there, it's profound to get a sense of humor about your lower self and to put language to it and even poetry to it. I don't, if everyone really hears me, you will hear me telling on my dark side with love, admiration, even, right? Like, I'm not trying to get rid of it, right? I, I love myself. I love my dark side. It gave me the how to be light, right? So the reason you shave your legs is because you don't like the stubble and the hair. Is there really something wrong with hair? No, I just like it, right? So, like, the hairy gives you the smooth. There's a yin yang to everything, folks.
Yeah.
Right? And it's your job to go, this is dark, this is light. Which do you want? And I am sorry, most sugar, unless it's this much, it's dark. It's like cocaine. Okay. So you have to decide who you are about your instinct to want to eat a cookie, not a baked apple. Will you be full and satisfied with a baked apple? Yes. Will you be happier with a cookie? Actually, no. Will it taste better while it's going down? Betcha.
Yep.
Is
How
that
long
our
does that
is
last?
instant gratification worth it? In my book, it never has been. Ever. Even just yelling or being mad or any, like, so many of our instincts get us in trouble that last twice as long as if we figured out how to truly master our own internal world.
Well, I mean, I can't keep you all day, even though I know that you definitely need to sit me down for like a week-long seminar. But I do think it would be great if you can help us wrap this up by just saying, like, where is the first place that we begin to take control of that dark side?
So when you have an area that really matters to you, like a real dream,
Let's
you want to
think
be in it?
about the food thing because I know a
Okay,
lot of
great.
people want to change their health or their body, and I'd like to know
Okay.
what
I
you
do
think
this.
there.
So first of all, if you're really failing at it, like you can't make it 3 days in a row, you can't make it 4 days in a row, you can make it 3 days on, 2 days off, or 6 days off, right? You suck at keeping promises, right? About your body. Great. That I don't fault you. I fault you not understanding or hearing your own inner dialogue. And my line is fight the real war, inner peace. And inner peace means the voice in your head is not rogue, is not a jerk, does not pick up a cookie unless it's cookie time. Okay. And so you would never let your room not need cleaning. You would never let your legs grow hairy without shaving. Like, how do you let the voice in your head run you without editing and managing it? Is like never cleaning up your room, people. So let's assume you really care about changing your diet and really getting healthy. What you would do in my book about how I teach this is, 1, you need a buddy. 2, you need to be willing for the first month. So help you God, you're going to hate me. It's very easy. Anything you eat, you send a picture of to your buddy. Anything that's not on the list of what you said you would eat, you have to just eat it. I got it. You ate it. You need to explain the voice in your head and what it said to be able to eat that. What will happen is you will start to hear the voice in your head sound like a jerk. And the following week, by the second week, start charging yourself $1 to your buddy if you cheat on your diet. At some point, you've had enough of this jerk, or you go, it's not my dream. But if it's really your dream and you really have a witness and you really have promises with a consequence and you're starting to trail your own lower self's voice, I have never met a person that doesn't end up within 3 weeks. Like, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm a rock. I lost 4 pounds. Right? Like they're like in heaven about how proud they are about themselves actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 20 years later, that formula works every time. And really take a pic, like nothing gets in your mouth unless you took a picture of it and sent it to your buddy. It will stop you from
Yeah.
putting things in your mouth.
Totally.
Right? If everyone saw what you looked on Instagram, like there was a camera over your camera, right? Guess who wouldn't be shopping as much? Yet, like there's like a no witness policy that if you had a
Yep.
witness to what you're doing, you would truly ask yourself why you're doing it 100% more than you currently are, where you'll tolerate, like you wouldn't tolerate it for your kid, but you'll tolerate it for you.
Yeah. And even just writing down that voice in your head that's telling you why you should break that promise is also like, you know, owning up to it. It's kind of like the flashlight is shining on you and you can't hide, you know?
Yeah, and you'd be amazed. It needs a cookie when you're happy. It needs a cookie when you're sad. It
Yeah.
needs a cookie when you're bored. It needs a
Yes.
cookie because your husband isn't home yet. It needs a cookie. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
it's like a one trick pony figuring out some reason to eat another fill in the blank,
Oh my
right?
gosh, that's so true. Thanks, Lauren. That is like spot on. And I think you've given us all a lot to think about. And everybody should pick up your book if they're serious about this inner work. Only if they're serious, though, I have to say.
Yeah, you do not need to get your butt kicked by me unless you really are like dying to deal with yourself, right? Like, blow me off. I'm intense,
I mean, the
right?
subtitle is Cut the Crap, Face Your Fears, Love Your Life.
Yeah.
And that's what the
Yeah.
book makes you feel like because I mean, I think that even if I did one of the exercises in your book, I would already feel like, oh, huge weights lifted off my shoulders. I'd feel so hopeful. I'd feel so empowered. And I think the reason that it's scary is because there's a lot of those in one place, one after another after another. And, you know, this is like something that people could go through over months, you
It's
know?
like the what's it, is it the writer's way? The writer's way? The
I
what
don't
is
know.
that? What's that create? There's like a creative book that everybody does in groups.
I don't.
Artist way, the artist way.
Okay.
So the artist way is a brilliant daily practice to get your creativity and your connection to yourself rolling, right? And you do it in groups or you can do it once a week call and people are, like it's a way, to work on yourselves together where there's no, right? So my book is a brilliant book to do in groups. The other thing that I've built is which is definitely not, it's a course you're buying, but once you get in, you're in for life, is a digital program where you listen for 25 minutes and the assignments are all built in and you can get a buddy. It's all tech, digital, profound, listen, do your
Cool.
homework. And then there's master classes
Yeah.
where they're free and you come in and you're like there is so much fun happening on my digital Handel group that
Cool.
if you want to do it with community,
Yes.
that's really my shtick, right?
And
My
where are you
shtick is
sending people for that?
it's inner you,
Inner
just
you. Just
inner
the letter.
you,
Okay.
inner you. But you can find it on anywhere Handel group. And during COVID, season where my product always costs $650. It costs $325.
Oh, amazing.
And the minute we walk back out the door and we're all allowed free, which who knows when that will be, that's when I'll go back to normal. But until then, and then all of my group calls are free. So there's like, even if you can't afford that right now, you could get I'm giving it away, right?
Aw.
Just to help people. And we have a wake up your day group call where we have like 150 people to 200 people on every morning. And we have a wind down. And I literally mean WH, like wine with your wine, right? Like everyone comes and we're really building so you could get a buddy, you could participate, you can learn, right? And then obviously, the more I know about what you teach, the better it is because I just basically cut out carbs. You're like, Lauren, what do you do to people? I'm like, no gluten, no sugar.
That's a great place to start. Yes.
I'm sorry. Everyone is screwed. And you can have fat, protein, and vegetables and fruit. And if you're not that into animals, stick to where you get your protein.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm very liberal about dieting. No sugar, no flour.
Right. I'm in the same boat. So I see you there eye to eye. Well, thanks so much for your energy, your enthusiasm, your passion, sharing this vision, helping so many people. And it's just amazing to see you changing the world. Keep it up, Lauren. You are a champ.
You too. You too.
Virtual high five.
Thanks.
How about that? If you're still sticking around, you're probably like, whoa, is this something I should consider? And maybe you love Lauren, or maybe you're scared, like this is too much, you can't do it. That's how I was. But trust me, if in your gut you know you need to do something different, that's what I was experiencing. And it just told me like, hey, this is it. Like I need to try something that makes me a bit uncomfortable so that I can get to the next level of really like realizing what I can do with my life and the way that I feel and how I'm living. And gosh, this is deep stuff, isn't it? Well, you can get Lauren's Inner You program for that crazy discount that's on top of the pandemic discount. So if you are listening to this anytime around August, September of 2020, I'm assuming it might be for the rest of the year, who knows, you can get it for 50% off plus an additional $75 with my code Foundation of Wellness 75, all caps on that. Okay, so go to the link that's in the show notes, or you can go to inneryou.coach. That's inner, INNER, with the letter U.coach. And you should get it for about $275 if you get that pandemic discount right now. It's pretty crazy. Let me know if you do it. And the one that I'm doing is the life one, the life coaching one. And they also have the love and romance or relationships one. You can do that one and get the same discount. There's a career one too, but that one is like more in depth and not part of the same discount. So if you're not sure which one to choose, just know that the life program includes all areas of your life, yourself, your career, your love, your relationship with money, your body, your spirituality, etc. So let me know if you sign up. Reach out to me on social media. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.